Today on America's Court with Judge Ross.
I didn't, purposely injure him or make him fall or anything. He just fell on his own.
You were just ticked off. You just minding your own business, and this is how this goes down.
Scared the hell out of him.
Stop. In my courtroom, it's about equity and fairness. You want him to pay $628.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, knock my socks off. Justice should be more than just some foreign concept. I actually want you to learn something. The law talks about something may in fact be true, but can they prove it? And that's what's tough.
Fair, firm, compassionate. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Dean Bakers claims he got into a car accident after his car was hit with water balloons by the defendant's son. Mr. Baker is suing Tabitha Long in the amount of $875. Ms. Long says she doesn't owe the plaintiff any money and claims Mr. Bakers threatened her son and caused him to sprain his wrist. Ms. Long is countersuing for $750.
All rise. Remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
All parties been sworn, Your Honor.
Third, good Deputy Thomas. Mr. Bakers, you weren't happy with this water balloon that hit another vehicle that caused you to collide with that vehicle.
Exactly.
The $875 that you're suing for, that's the monies that you were out of pocket?
Yes, that's to cover the actual damage to my car and the car that I ran into.
And Ms. Long, you're countersuing for $750 because Mr. Bakers here injured your son, and this is Jacob.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Jacob, I want to start with you. What happened here?
Okay, so me and two other kids from school were like, this summer we want to do something really fun. It's hot where we live, so we all came together and we were like, we should go have some fun, dry off with some water balloons.
All right, you are with two other friends and you decide it's hot.
Yeah.
You're going to get some water balloons for who?
Just to have some fun with some
each
friends.
other?
Yeah.
It started with you and the other two boys, I take it?
Yeah.
These are boys that you've known for a while?
We were just acquaintances from school
All
that
right,
were
but
close
you've known them
together.
for some period of time. Mom, do you know who these boys are?
I've met them, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And how do we go from you three playing with water balloons to water balloons being thrown at cars?
There's a slope down by the busy street, and we decided that it would be fun to see who could throw the water balloon the farthest.
Tell me what you decided.
So I was like, maybe we should try and see who could hit the tree the first. But one of my friends was like, no, that's going to be too easy for us.
All right, there was a
So-
conversation, because the other boys aren't here.
Yeah.
The conversation started with, let's see who can hit the tree from the farthest distance. And we went from trees to cars.
No, not cars. There's this little slope where we were playing with water balloons, and we just started chucking it to see who could do it the farthest.
Okay. And as you're chucking it, is it in the direction of where cars are operating?
No, there's this hill by the street, and we're on the other side of the hill.
Okay.
And we're throwing it at the hill.
Okay. And then what happened?
And then we continued to throw the hill. We really got excited about it. Like, it was kind of like...
Don't tell me what the other boys got excited about. Tell me what you got excited about.
I was really excited because this was one of the first times, like, me and my friends, like, we really had a good time in a long time.
Okay. How do we get to the point where water balloons are impacting cars?
We never...
Don't tell me about we, tell me about you.
I never intended or even thought about hitting a car. I was just having some fun with water balloons, and it just so happens, I don't know if it was my balloon or my other friend's balloons, that it hit a car.
Okay. And then what happened?
And then Mr. Bakers was on top of the hill yelling at us like, someone hit my car, who did it, I want to know. And we were laughing because we couldn't believe that we hit the car. We were like,
Don't tell me
"Really?"
about we, tell me about you. You were laughing because you couldn't believe that one of the balloons hit the car.
Yes.
Okay.
I couldn't believe
This gentleman
it.
says one of those balloons hit my car. Right? How old are you?
Yes. I am 13 years old.
Okay. If an adult says your fun has caused some sort of damage, what do you think you're supposed to do at that point?
Apologize and be respectful.
Is that what you did?
No.
What did you do?
I was laughing and being rude to him.
Okay.
And then
Stop. Mom,
Yes.
talk to me.
He's a very good kid. I mean,
I'm not talking about whether or not he's a good kid. I'm talking about this situation.
this situation. Well, first
Because
of all,
this situation, not so good.
no, I agree, and I understand the gravity of it. I've taken away several privileges. You know, his iPhone's gone, his computer's gone. We know that this was a bad thing. However, first of all, there's no way that Mr. Bakers can know that it was his water balloon that hit his car.
Let's assume that's true.
Okay.
He is with 2 other boys. You know these boys.
Yes.
You know that something happened as a result of water balloons. We're not talking about 200 kids. We're talking about 3.
Right.
Was there a conversation with the other boys' parents as to, all right, something went down, somebody's going to fess up as to who threw the balloon so we can be responsible and lead by example? Did that take place?
No, it did
Okay.
not.
Stop. That's a problem.
Coming up on America's Court.
You know, I approach him, I start running up to him, and then as soon as I get to him, they just like split up in 3 different directions. So I used to run track, so I'm really fast.
In other words, you were like, you're going to learn today.
Exactly.
Closed captioning provided by. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. America's Court is back with the case of Dean Bakers, who is suing Tabitha Long for $875.
Your vehicle hit by the balloon, or was it the other vehicle?
I ran into the vehicle, and then after I ran into it, then I got hit by another water balloon, hit the side of my car. So I was driving down the street.
Yes.
It was probably around 6 p.m., and it was 35 miles an hour, and I was just going with the speed of traffic, and then I noticed that there's these 3 kids on the side of the road, and they're throwing water balloons. And so when they threw one at the car in front of me, he, you know, kind of starts swerving, and then
The car in front of you swerved.
Yeah, he just starts swerving, and then he stopped abruptly, and so that caused me to run into the back of him. And right when I ran into him, another water balloon hit the side of my car. So at that time, then I hop out of the car, and I'm like, you know, I'm mad, of course. I'm yelling at the kids, yo, why did you do this? Look what you did. And I'm trying to get them to understand, you know, this could have been way worse than it was. Like, somebody could have actually died here. And they're just, like, laughing and pointing fingers and stuff. So, you know, I approach them, I start running up to him, and then as soon as I get to him, they just, like, split up in 3 different directions. So I used to run track, so I'm really fast.
In other words, you were like, you're going to learn today.
Exactly. Somebody had to.
And you caught the slowest one.
I caught the slowest one, exactly.
And that happened to be Jacob.
Unfortunately.
You could only catch one, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, so I caught Jacob, and at first he started, you know, trying to get away, and I kind of had him by his jacket, and he kind of squirmed out of it, and that's when he fell. I didn't, you know, purposely injure him or make him fall or anything. He just fell on
You were
his
just
own.
ticked off. You were just minding your own business, and this is how this goes down.
Scared the hell out of him.
Stop. Yes, someone should have had the hell scared out of them. That would be the drivers. Operating a vehicle and something just hits you out of nowhere. Yes, that would scare the hell out of me. I want to show you something, Jacob. Because when I read this case, I thought, this is so interesting. This is my personal phone. And I want you, Deputy Thomas, to show Jacob and Jacob's mom. There's a picture. You see the picture?
Yes.
What's the picture of, Jacob?
2 kids.
2 kids. You know where I have that picture of these 2 kids on my phone, Jacob?
No.
Because I didn't even know I was getting this case. You can hand it back. But a couple of days ago, I was running an errand. And I was in a shopping plaza. And I'm exiting the plaza trying to go onto the street. And these 2 jerks stop in front of my car and won't move. And they're just laughing. And laughing. And then they have some sort of device, because this one, I'm not going to show them on national TV, because I'm going to find them, has this device, and the device is just yelling out vulgarities. And they're playing the device and taping me to watch my reaction to that. Why do you think I showed you that?
Because it's a similar situation to what happened with me.
How so?
Because it's a different point of view of where I was having a good time, where to Mr. Baker's wasn't.
Right. So with these two young men, finally I was like, I can run them over. You know, Boss Ross wasn't going to do that.
That would not look good.
Finally, I was like, okay, guys. I get out the car, and they start talking, and I was like, I don't have time. Ain't nobody got time for this. And I drive, and it just so happens the direction that I'm driving, they end up walking, and this is a long light, and they end up walking right up to me. And I went, smile, and I took a picture of them, and they started running, and I was like, I'm a deputy sheriff, and I'm going to find you. And it scared them. I didn't break their arm, though.
Coming up on America's Court with Judge Ross.
And you have the stigma of being a criminal at 13. Ha ha ha.
Closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. America's Court is back with the case of Dean Bakers, who is suing Tabitha Long for $875.
And that's what happened to him.
Well, I didn't break his arm. They said that it was more of a sprain, but
Is that what happened?
That wasn't.
The situation between
It was
Mr.
a
Baker
sprain.
and Jay, he
It was a
sprained his
sprain.
hand.
We had to go to the
All
hospital.
right, let's
for
talk about
x-rays.
his injury. What happened?
Once,
No, Mom, let me hear from Mom. I
Okay.
think I've heard enough from you, young man.
Okay. From what I understand, he ran after Mr. Baker started chasing him. He was frightened. He ran, and he caught the corner of his jacket, and he tried to kind of squirm out of it to keep running because he didn't know what the guy was going to do. He doesn't know this man. He doesn't know if he has bad intentions. You know, he could be out to kidnap him for all he knows.
Because we clearly know that these boys had bad intentions. But
Nevertheless,
of course,
he was trying to get away from him,
right,
and he was doing
trying
everything
to
he
get
could.
away from accepting the consequences of his actions.
But he's a kid, and he was frightened.
I understand that.
So, I mean,
Kids also have to learn the consequences of their actions.
Well-
There are a lot of kids in juvenile hall right now
well, and like I said,
learning the consequences of their actions because it was a crime.
and as I said
It was an
before, we did
assault.
punish.
And it was destruction of property. And you could have been charged for it. And you could be sitting in kiddie jail. And now you're not laughing. Now you're experiencing 3 hots in a cot as a 13-year-old with a record that affects you unless you can get it sealed. And you have the stigma of being a criminal at 13. Ha ha ha.
Coming up on America's Court.
No adult should
No,
be
but-
putting their hand on my child.
Okay?
That's-
And no child should be throwing balloons at moving cars.
I agree. I agree.
Closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. America's Court is back with the case of Dean Bakers, who is suing Tabitha Long for $875.
What disturbs me about this case is he knows who the other kids are. Why hasn't there been something where everyone sits down and goes, let's figure this out? Mom?
I don't have that much communication with these families, to be honest with
I
you.
don't
I've
care.
met the children. I just.
You know who they are. You know they go to school with him. That's one conversation with the school. I need to see this person and this person. I need to talk to their parents. We're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to go to this man. We're going to apologize. We're going to show them by example, this is how you handle when you're wrong. Because kids make mistakes. This is not the way to handle it, that it has come down to this.
Well, and I certainly agree that I should talk to the parents. And I
Right. Because the energy that you should have put towards that, you put towards suing him for injuring your child.
Well, I'm countersuing him. He
Right.
sued me first. But yes, I have a medical bill to pay because he was
He
rough with
sued
my
you
child. He put his
first
hands on my
because of the
child.
damage that he sustained as a result of the activity of Jacob and the other two
But
boys.
no adult should
No,
be
but-
putting their hand on my child.
Okay,
That's-
and no child should be throwing balloons at moving cars.
I agree. I agree.
Your Honor, just let me say that I didn't make him sprain his arm. He sprained his arm by running away. And that had nothing, I wasn't in any kind of contact with
You know
him.
what? In the situation that I talked about, which is why I made it a point to say it, I was getting a little riled up. But in the overall scheme of things, I was able to go, but it's a joke. And I get it. And I remember being young and doing stupid things and being silly. That's a whole different thing where you got cars colliding with each other and people possibly being injured and destruction of property and then not owning up to it.
Judge Ross's verdict when America's Court returns. You're watching America's Court with Judge Ross. This is America's Court with Judge Ross.
I still just don't see how he can prove that it was my son's water balloon, A, and B, that, you know, he was following close enough to hit the car.
Here's what you're saying. I know my son was involved in criminal behavior, but because he wasn't the one that actually threw it, I'm relieved of this.
No.
Because no then means, Jacob, what are the names of the boys? I'm going to talk to their parents. We're going to go to Mr. Baker. We're going to sit down. We're going to show you all how you're going to be doing a lot of chores. You're going to be doing a lot of making lemonade and delivering papers and washing cars and all, whatever it costs, because that is not okay. Because I guarantee you, Jacob, if I were on the side of the road and I was throwing balloons while your mom was driving and she got into a collision and something happened to her, then what would you do? How would you feel?
I would be just as Mr. Baker's is.
Exactly. You are going to get the $875. You will be paying the $875. Now, if you want to then go sue the other parents and figure out which of the three should be paying you, knock yourself out. As it pertains to the $750 for Jacob's injuries as a result of this man just trying to detain him and him falling, based on his testimony, he's very credible. He presents himself well. I don't get the sense he was trying to harm the child, but he was trying to make him accountable. It's a lesson that you got to learn today. But we're not done, because we still have the issue of the apology to this man, to the other person driving the vehicle, and the other two friends of yours. We'll start with you. Anything you want to say to Mr. Bakers? Look at him and tell him.
Mr. Baker's, I'm sorry that I caused a car accident.
Okay? That'll do for now. $875 is your judgment. Nothing for you. We're done.
All rise.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $875.